If you're struggling to close high-ticket clients, you're probably making a simple mistake that's causing them to say, I'll think about it, and then they ghost you forever. But the best closers don't use sales tactics at all. They do things that you'll learn about in this video instead. And by the end of this video, I'll share one simple shift that helped my clients start closing $10,000 deals effortlessly. Make sure you watch this entire video because I'm about to break down the exact sales framework that high-ticket closers use to land premium clients without feeling salesy or pushy. The tactics that you're going to learn in this video are so powerful that they can easily cause you to make sales in the seven figures. So that's $1 million plus and beyond. So I would highly suggest that you watch this video twice. The first time is just to get an overview of these tactics, and the second time is to take notes as to what you're going to implement and when you'll take action. For those of you who are new here, my name is Peter and I run SwiftBus Support, a web design agency that helps business owners create high converting websites that attract premium clients. And today I'm going to show you how to close high ticket deals without the awkward sales pitch. Now, here's why most people struggle to close high ticket sales in the first place. Before we talk about what actually works, let's talk about why most people fail to close high ticket clients. And they make three mistakes, or at least one of these three mistakes. Mistake number one is they talk about features instead of outcomes. So if your sales pitch sounds like a boring list of what's included, like 6 modules or one-on-one coaching or 3 calls per month, you've already lost them. Clients don't buy coaching calls or modules. They buy results. And so that's the first mistake. Mistake number two is that maybe you focus too much on themselves. So, for example, most people talk about what they do instead of making it about the client. The moment a prospect feels like you care more about closing the deal than helping them, they automatically check out. Mistake number three is not positioning yourself as an authority. So if your prospect doesn't see you as the go-to expert in your industry, they're going to hesitate to invest. So because high ticket sales require trust, and that is the most important currency. So if that just made you realize why high ticket clients aren't buying, hit the like button so you can come back to this later. And if you want more strategies to close premium clients without feeling salesy, subscribe because I drop new videos every week. Now, here's the next thing. You might be thinking, okay, I get what not to do, but how do I actually lead a sales conversation that makes clients want to buy? Well, this is where most people get it completely wrong. They think they need to sell the client, when in reality, the best closers act like doctors. And so here's why this works. When you act like a doctor, people trust you. And when people trust you, they don't need to be sold, but they buy naturally. So I'm going to give you here a 3-step doctor framework for closing high ticket sales. All right. So step number one is to diagnose the pain. So before a doctor prescribes treatment, they first diagnose the problem. The same rule applies to high ticket sales. So how do you diagnose the pain effectively? You want to ask deep questions that uncover the real problem. So you can ask questions like, what's been holding you back from getting the results that you want? You want to get them to verbalize their struggles. You want to ask them a question like, how long have you been trying to fix this problem? You also want to make them feel the pain of staying stuck. Ask them a question like, if nothing changes, where do you see yourself in a year? And so here's why this is so powerful. People only invest in solutions when they fully acknowledge their pain. So if they don't see the real cost of inaction and they don't understand the cost of doing nothing, they're not going to be motivated to change. So now that you're done with step one, move on to step two. Show the consequences. Now that you've helped them diagnose their pain, you need to make them clearly see the consequences of staying stuck. So how can you show the cost of doing nothing? Ask future-paced questions. What happens if you don't fix this problem? If they're going to lose money, make sure that you point that out. Or if they're not going to be able to hit their sales goals or their income goals, make sure that you point that out as well. Also, you want to make the problem feel urgent. Can you afford to keep struggling for another 6 months? Would be a great question to ask. You want to use examples of people who didn't take action. You can say something like, hey, I work with a client who waited too long, and by the time he came to me, he had lost tens of thousands of dollars in potential revenue. So that is a great way to also frame the idea of doing nothing. Step number three in the framework is to prescribe the solution. So once the pain and consequences are clear, The next step is prescribing your offer as the only logical step and the only prescription to their pain. So how do you present your offer the right way? You want to connect the dots between their point and your offer. So you want to say something like, based on what you've shared, it sounds like you need a proven system that eliminates guesswork and gets you real results. That's exactly what we do inside. And you talk about your offer, and you talk about how your offer exactly addresses their points. Don't add any extra benefits, features, or anything else. Only talk about your offer and how it addresses their pain and what they've been telling you on the call. You also want to make it feel like a relief, not a sales pitch. So you want to say something like, hey, instead of spending months trying to figure this out on your own, we can give you a step-by-step roadmap so you can hit your goals faster with confidence. That's going to absolutely resonate with them. You want to make it about them, not you. So then you say something like, hey, how does that sound? And just be quiet and wait for them to respond back. So here's why this works. At this point, they're not feeling sold to. They're feeling like they need your help. And instead of pushing them, you're guiding them to the right decision. So if you agree with me at this point, why don't you drop the word doctor in the comments if you're already seeing how this shift could change your sales. Now, here's the real secret. The best closers don't actually close. Instead, they guide the client to close themselves. Most people, they think they need to push, persuade, or convince someone to buy. But that's not how high ticket sales work. The best closers know that when a client feels like they're making the decision themselves, they'll be far more likely to invest without hesitation. So I want to share with you the psychology of letting your prospects close themselves. So people buy when they feel like they are in control. If they feel forced, they hesitate. So if they feel ownership of the decision, they'll justify the purchase themselves. And pressure makes people resist. But guiding them through the right questions make them feel like it was their idea. So how can you do this in a real sales conversation? So how do you get clients to close themselves? Step number one is to use strategic questions instead of statements. Instead of telling them your offer is right for them, you need to ask the right questions so that they come to that conclusion themselves. Now, here's an example of a wrong approach. I really think this program is perfect for you. Don't say that. That's no good. Instead, a better approach would be to say, based on what you've told me so far, does this sound like the solution you've been looking for? The key here is letting them confirm the value of your offer instead of you forcing it on them. All right. Another step that you can take, or another way that you can do this, is to use if-then questions to lead them to the right decision. So instead of trying to convince them, ask if-then questions that logically lead them to close themselves. So for example, if we could solve and say the specific point that they're having for you, and you had, and then give them their desired result that they've shared with you during the call, and then you say, in the next 90 days, would that make this worth the investment? This works because it forces the client to visualize their success and see the program as the only logical step. Are you following me so far? All right, and here's another tool that you could use is to use silence as a closing tool. So one of the biggest mistakes people make in sales is talking way too much after making the offer. Here's the secret. After asking a closing question, just shut up and let them process. The silence will force them to think. And if they hesitate, they'll usually start talking themselves into it by justifying why they need your offer. So this is why it works. When they say yes out loud, they commit to the idea. And people hate cognitive dissonance. So once they decide, they want to stay consistent with that decision. So here's why this no pitch close kind of works. Instead of selling, you're guiding. Instead of convincing, you're helping them make the best decision for themselves. And instead of pushing, you're letting them feel in control. So based on what you've told me, does this sound like the kind of solution you've been looking for? That's the kind of question that you want to ask. Drop no pitch in the comments if you're ready to start using the strategy in your own sales calls. All right, so even if you have the best sales process in the world, there's still one factor that makes closing effortless, and that's social proof. Think about the last time you bought something expensive. You probably looked at reviews, testimonials, or case studies before making a decision, right? That's because people don't trust marketing, they trust other people. If high ticket prospects don't see that your offer has worked for others, they'll hesitate to buy. And if they feel like they can buy at any time with no urgency, they'll put off making the decision forever. Let's break down how to use social proof and urgency to close more high ticket deals without being pushy. So here's why social proof is the secret weapon for high ticket sales. People trust other buyers more than they trust salespeople. Seeing others succeed makes it easier for prospects to visualize their own success. And proof removes doubt and builds immediate credibility. So how do you leverage social proof to get prospects to say yes? Number one, you want to show real client success stories. Client video testimonials are absolutely fantastic. Nothing is more convincing than hearing a real person talk about how your offer changed their life. You want to also share before and after case studies. Show real world transformations with numbers, screenshots, or performance data. You also want to show screenshots of wins. Share messages from happy clients saying how much value they got from working with you. One of my clients was struggling to close deals, and after implementing what I taught, he went from barely making sales to closing $10,000 deals every month. If he can do it, so can you. That's a great example of something that you can say on your sales call. And this is why it works. When people see someone like them winning, they assume they can too. And social proof removes doubt and makes your offer feel proven and reliable. Now, next, you want to add urgency. And the key to making clients take action now is to add urgency. So even if your offer is perfect, most people are going to delay making a decision if they think that they can come back later or at any time. And this is where urgency comes in. People don't like missing out. They can have FOMO. They'll only take action if there's a reason to act now. So how do you add urgency to your high ticket offer without feeling pushy? So here's what you can do. You can do number one, limited spots. Hey, I only take on 5 coaching clients per month and 3 spots are already gone. Number two, you can have a price increase. The price of this program is going to go up after a certain number of days. So if you wait, you're going to pay more. Number three, you can have disappearing bonuses. Hey, if you enroll before today, if you enroll before the end of the week, hey, you're going to get an exclusive, and then you add a bonus, training, extra coaching, call, additional feature, whatever it is. You can also have application deadlines. We only accept applications for this program until this date. And adding those types of things are going to be absolutely amazing. And it's going to push your prospects to take action now if it's something that's appealing to them. So the bottom line that you want to learn about adding urgency is that urgency removes procrastination. It forces people to make a decision now before they talk themselves out of it. Now, when you mix social proof, which is trust, plus urgency, a reason to act now, your high ticket sales become effortless. So here's a closing statement that you could say. You've seen the success my clients are getting with this, and you know that the system works, but I only have 5 spots left for this month. If you're serious about making this happen, now's the time to apply. And you can even add that, for example, in a video sales letter. So drop the word social proof in the comments if you see how powerful this strategy is for high ticket sales. Now, here's the thing. Even if you master high ticket sales, none of this will work if your website is secretly driving away prospects before you even get a chance to talk to them. Click here to watch my next video, 5 mistakes killing your website's trustworthiness. You might be shocked at number 3.